Hey there guys, welcome to this week's Philetic Talks. This week we're going all over the Asura. I must apologise for the delay on this video. I've just started college this week, so my routine's become a bit crazy, so sometime next week I should be back on routine and normal services will continue. But as for now, this is when this video is up, so I am sorry for the delay, but let's get right into it. So, who are the Asura and where did they come from? I must apologise if I do mispronounce Asura. I do have trouble with this and I'm not sure if it's Asura or Azura or whatever, but I'm going to keep saying Asura, so if that's going to really annoy you, just be prepared for that right now. But they are an incredibly intelligent race. They originally lived beneath the surface of Dryas. So the humans thought them as a myth. They didn't believe that they existed. They have a philosophy of eternal alchemy which touches everything they do. So the Asura, from this philosophy, they sort of create scientists, they create inventors, spellcasters, and basically it defines their intelligence. Although the Asura have a lot of intelligence, you may have noticed from recent videos we have seen, and you may even see it on the screen, that the Asura aren't the best for their own strength. You know, I wouldn't trust an Asura warrior to take down one of the Elder Dragons by himself. They don't look the best at holding their own. However, they know this because they're so intelligent, so they designed the Golem. Now, everyone knows about the Golem for the Asura. It's the big sort of blue metal-y stone structure that's sort of robotic-ish, and it basically backs up the Asura. Now, what many of you may not know is that each Asura doesn't really get their own personal golem. These golems take years to make. They are made from natural resources, and they are a lot harder to control than the Asura sort of would want them to be. But they are the perfect battling machine to defend the Asura's homeland. Now, the Asura got woken by the fire dragon, and that's why they sort of rose up out of the ground to sort of defend their own homeland. But they noticed that above the ground they don't really have their own homeland to defend on top of the ground, and all the other races are obviously involved as well, and they don't want to feel inferior to these races. So they sort of banded together and created the city Ratasum.
I'm particularly fascinated by the fact that the world's smallest sentient race is also its most intelligent.
What fascinates you about it? Seems fairly elementary to me. We're the top of the evolutionary chain. We're what happens when you eliminate weakness and waste. We're concentrated magnificence.
So in my Philetic Talk Salvari, I went over how they form their families and how they have families and don't they. And the Asura are a new race, and no one really knows anything about them because they were believed to be a myth beforehand. But they do have families like every normal human would. They have grandparents, moms, dads, brothers, sisters. So they have everything normal. The difference is, because of their high intelligence rate, their parents would want their children to exceed way above their level. So each generation is just getting smarter and smarter and smarter. But in any sort of society where you have this system set up, there's a lot of backstabbing that goes on. There's a lot of deception, and everyone's trying to be smarter than each other. So the Asura generally work in teams, and these teams, they try to basically beat each other, and it's a very competitive environment. And these teams are known as crews.
All muds are not equal, my dear. You must take into consideration the metals and the biological materials in your sample. Something as common as an embedded fossil can throw off the entire equation.
I love it when you talk dirt.
Hey, sorry about your disappointment yesterday, buddy.
Thanks for reminding me. Script kisser.
The ephemeral synergy of entropic disorder prevents it from reaching a ground state.
Actually, synergy is defined as a cooperative enterprise between two or more factors.
Technically, I would say process and not enterprise, but I get your...
So the problem with the Asura is they can't do everything by themselves, and they have realised this, and as much as they hate it, they have realised they need to band together with the inferior, in quotations, races. They need to get the Char in the back, get the Char behind them, get the humans behind them, get the Salvari behind them, get the Norn behind them. They need these other races to be able to defeat these Elder Dragons that are basically going to destroy Dryas as a whole, and including them. And they even wouldn't stop at anything to save themselves, because they believe themselves to be inferior, even above the Elder Dragons. So they would go to the means of evil. The crew is not a moral thinking type. The Asura don't think along the lines of morals and ethics. It's even quoted that they would make a weapon out of other races if it was possible to take down the elder dragon. So they would decapitate people if they could. So even though they're all cute and cuddly, and you might even want an Asura plush, just be careful because that plush might creep into your bed at night and chop your head off. Also, to note, if you're interested in how the Asura are sort of made and created and how the artists came up with the Asura and the whole idea behind their race and how they would work and why are they intelligent and the whole animation and art behind the Asura, there are certain blog articles that ArenaNet have released through the Asura week, and they are just, you can just click the link on the screen right now and it will take you to one of them in another window. And while you wait for that page to load, you can just continue watching this video and continue watching me babble on about the Asura for a little bit more. But I think that's enough about the sort of lore and the history behind the Asura. I haven't gone into much depth, and the reason I haven't is because I'm planning on doing a lore series. I want to sort of I don't want to cover absolutely everything and leave no content, because I'm not sure how long Guild Wars 2's got to come out, and we all want Guild Wars 2 news and something to watch about Guild Wars 2 while we wait. But, so how do I think the Asura are going to play in the game, you know? How are they going to feel amongst the other races? There's always in MMOs that sort of race that's either tiny or is a bit like extremely abstract from the other races. Like you've got the gnomes in WoW, you've got sort of dwarves in Warhammer, and in Aeon you can make your characters very super tiny. And the reason why a lot of players choose these characters is on a PvP aspect, because they're smaller, they're easier to move around, they're harder to target, they're harder to hit. But I can tell you now, for the Asura in PvP, the hitbox is going to be just as easy to click on an Asura as it would be for a Norn. There is no real advantage apart from the looks. I mean, you could hide behind a wall, whereas a Norn couldn't hide behind a small wall, for example. But the click box, the hitbox, is still the same size, so you can't really get that advantage to the fullest. But it's still a cool class to play with all its animations, especially on the PvP side. On the PvE and the role-playing side, I do think for you role players it will be a really interesting class to play. You know, it's quite intelligent. The lore and the personal story, I'm guessing, is going to be amazing for that. Considering how they hate all the other races, how they sort of want to do everything by themselves, or the backstabbing that's going on, or the inventions and the crafting that they can do. I think it'd be an extremely interesting class to play. Also, even the animations in the PvE. I mean, it would be hilarious watching or playing as an Asura as you go into a massive Elder Dragon fight. You know, I think they're going to be a really interesting class to play, and definitely give them a go as an alt. I'm planning to have an alt Asura Necromancer, so I think it's hilarious the fact that an Asura can have so much power. But never underestimate an Asura, I'll tell you that. But that is all I really have to say about the Asura. They seem like an extremely interesting race, as do all of the Guild Wars 2 races, the new races that we have seen from a Guild Wars 2, because if you didn't know, in Guild Wars 1, basically the only race you could play was a human, so it's really exciting that they've come up with such new ideas for races such as the Asura and the Sylvari and the badass Char that you can play. So, and even the Norn, I'm interested in the Norn, and that's probably going to be my next race Let's Talks. Not many people are talking about the Norn, not many people are excited about the Norn that you see around in the community, but I think a lot of people will still be playing the Norn. I think it's going to be one of those races that just, you're going to see them everywhere and be really surprised about them. Especially because of their history and their lore. I think all the personal stories in this game is going to be extremely interesting to play. I'll probably want to play each and every one of them, but that will take me absolutely ages. But it's a free game, so I'm not going to be paid for anything like a subscription fee, which is also awesome. So, but definitely I'm going to go through the Asura personal story and have an alt as an Asura. As some of you may know, I'm going to have a human as my main. It's going to be nice and boring like that. But yeah, definitely give the Asura a try. And just leave a comment about what you think about the Asura, and are you going to play one? Are you going to play it in PvE and a personal story, or are you going to play it in PvP, and how you think it will play in Guild Wars 2 in general? But I'm going to leave the video there, guys. Thanks for watching. I recently hit 100 subscribers. You know, I cannot thank everyone enough. Just all my subscribers, all the YouTubers that have helped me out. Everything seems to be growing. The Guild Wars 2 YouTube community seems to be growing. And if you haven't checked out my 100 subscriber video, definitely go check that out. It took me about 4 hours to edit like about a minute of footage. So it'd be awesome if you could check that out and give it a like and just give it a comment and tell me what you think. But other than that, I'll see you all next time. And again, leave your questions. So if I get enough questions, I can do a Q&A video after this one. And just leave a comment and just get this discussion going about the Asura. And I'll see you guys next time.